Brother Blanks, founder and chief president of Black Abolition Movement for the Mind. So, recently I've been keeping you all informed whenever I attend the city council meeting. And it's been surrounding a local issue regarding our local towing ordinance. And one of the things that we have been discussing is some accountability surrounding the financial aspect of putting it out for bid, so there can be some fair opportunities for those who are interested in the towing contracts. Well, that deals with the financial aspect of it. But as I was mentioning to you all, the reason that we ended up, one of the primary reasons we ended up suing the city in 2004 regarding the $500 impoundment, I was in it based on the humanity or the human rights side of it. And that was the unfair, inequitable, and racist enforcement of that $500 impoundment then through law enforcement, particularly the Waukegan Police Department. Now, that brings me presently to one of the discussions that I had earlier. Yeah, putting it out to bid, that deals with the financial aspect of it and making it fair and equitable for the towing companies. But long before your car is towed, many of us, well, all of us in many cases, when it comes to the towing, we first come in contact, particularly if it's a matter of where the city is involved and the police is called for suspension plates or whatever. Then we first come in contact, before we even come in contact with a towing company, we come in contact with the police. And that contact, in many cases, can prove to be fatal. It's not in every case. And right now, as I mentioned tonight at the city council meeting, that while they are considering legislation during the committee meeting times, they definitely cannot just do accountability with the financial aspect of it without also including some accountability with law enforcement. Because if it is, and as it have been in the past, where it becomes corrupt, and the matter, even though the issue that I'm discussing is a local issue, when it comes to law enforcement, it's a global issue. And what affects us here locally, it affects us globally when it comes to law enforcement, whether it's dealing with the law enforcement of our community or the law enforcement of the military and the corruption thereof, and imposing its will against people who are just trying to live. But I'm not going to go globally. Let me stay locally here with the law enforcement. So if we do not include, and if there is not some part in whatever they are crafting regarding accountability that also hold the police accountable, which says you're not just going to be randomly pulling people over or profiling and harassing people, because there is the financial aspect of it involved. Because if you have a corrupt elected official, regardless of who it is, and they are collecting money, many times they will have a tendency to look the other way when the police are harassing and intimidating, long as they tow that car so they can get their pockets lined. And many cases, in many instances, that have been the case with towing companies, particularly if the law enforcers, particularly if the mayors or the elected officials or whoever the case may be have control over those finances. It has gotten to the point, it has been, speaking of the past, in my experience, that these elected officials, whoever is controlling, who has the controlling interest of those towing contracts, many times have been known in the past, and in some cases in the future, whether it's in our city or any other city. And I told you that before, when we had that towing ordinance, it became so lucrative, we had copycat cities that implemented the same unfair and racist towing contract. So what am I saying? This leads me back to an earlier conversation that I had last year regarding this city, and that other part of the accountability comes under what I consider as the Waukegan Civilian Office of Police Accountability, WCOPA, as I called it. So now this is something that needs to be revisited. But much too often, many political officials don't want to touch that kind of accountability in this particular area because, you know, you do have your Waukegan chief that sits in the seat, but then you have your police union and you have your fraternal order police, and many times they dictate every aspect of law enforcement, even though you have the chief there. And if that particular chief do not have some backbone to take a stand, being between the police unions, the unions, the fraternal order of police, where he sits between that and serving and protecting the community, if he do not have some backbone to be more for the community, then we have a problem. Then this is where we need, and what I've been pushing for, and now that this issue has resurfaced, the other part of that putting it out for bid also comes under the Waukegan Civilian Office of Police Accountability. Many police departments, whether it be ours or any other law enforcement, whether it be ICE, have not proven to be able to hold itself accountable. And I hear some things surfacing now. I just went down and I stood before the city council with a lady, last city council meeting, who was complaining about how one of the officers did not take her side of the story in a police complaint, and how it was not, well, she didn't receive the other, the bottom line, she didn't receive the full police complaint. And that came out of the police department. Now, having a Waukegan Civilian Office of Police Accountability, it's not adversarial to the police department. In fact, it's proactive, because right now, it's very difficult to see the good officers coming in some cases when you have corrupt officers. So when you got new officers coming in, they need protection under a Waukegan Civilian Office of Police Accountability as well. Good officers need to have the support of the community and the Civilian Office of Police Accountability when they're trying to do the right thing, but they got a climate and a corrupt atmosphere that compels or imposes on them to do the wrong thing, or to make them feel they're not going to last too long. In many cases, they don't, if they're aspiring to do the right thing. So, to my Waukegan council people, you need to consider right now in revisiting that Waukegan Civilian Office of Police Accountability as a balance to the finance part of it and the towing part of it. But keep in mind, long before the tow truck get there, most cases the police get there first, or the police call the towing company. And so there definitely have to be something fair and equitable, because how I got involved, and I share this with you, with the last police or the $500 impoundment, and how I ended up being included on that lawsuit, is because during that time I was planning a protest march against the Waukegan Police Department for that very corrupt and racist $500 impoundment. During that particular time, the Waukegan Police Department dispatched a uniformed officer to my home and hand-delivered a letter. And in that threatening letter was everything that said what was going to be the consequences if I had the rally and or the protest. And what I'm telling you right now, don't take my word for it. It's all public records. You can find everything I'm telling you in the lawsuit. You can find everything I'm telling you now as part of that lawsuit. So anyway, with that particular point, at that point in time, they sent this uniformed officer to my house, and just in no uncertain way, in that letter read what would be the consequences if I held the rally. Where they went above and beyond the law is the fact that where we was holding the rally at and where we held a get-together at, it was not on city property. The rally that we had advertised and promoted, it was actually on Park District property. So the police department was never ever supposed to be on my property delivering anything. And that was the basis of where I was included on suing the city and the Waukegan Police Department. And as I told you before, every dime of the pennies we got went back to opening up what we now have in the location we've been at for 10 years, Black Abolition Movement for the Mind, up here on what is affectionately known as the set on McAllister Ave. But the thing that we achieved and that was successful about the suit, we ripped the heart out of that $500 impoundment, and we will not on my watch this towing ordinance reduce itself back to the corruption of what we had with that $500 impoundment. So that is the thing I'm appealing to the city council members to keep in mind as this issue with the towing resurfaced. The Waukegan Civilian Office of Police Accountability. It's not adversarial. It works in the best interest of everyone as a whole. You know, so you want your good officers to be protected, and those that appear to be doing the right thing, we the community want to help you out. And more importantly, we're out here in the community, so we know and we see. So we know and we see that officers who are reaping havoc on the community, as opposed to those who are making an attempt to do the right thing. So I'm Brother Blanks, founder and chief president here at Black Abolition Movement for the Mind. And right now, it's all about accountability and just hold them accountable. We have to be the conscience of the city. Many times when it comes down to these political matters or issues, corruption can compel the law enforcers to be above and beyond what they even write as policy, legislation, and the law. Read, write, recite, and as we say at Black Abolition Movement for the Mind, never, ever, ever give up the good fight.